Yes, greetings to everyone in South Korea. I am been to your country many times. I always learn a lot. I'm very impressed with your companies, Samsung, Hyundai. So many interesting things are happening in South Korea. I even had an expression given to me by a friend, a woman friend who is from South Korea. She said, say to the audience, "Annyeonghaseyo." So I guess I'm saying hello to you. I want to give three presentations and separate each a bit. The first one is to understand current marketing. That would give us the basis for knowing the second presentation, which is the future of marketing. Because marketing is changing. What it was, we need to understand, and what it's becoming, we need to understand. And then after the future of marketing, I'd like to make a presentation on the planning of your marketing. Having heard what the current marketing picture is and the future marketing picture is, how can you really lay better plans for your economic growth through marketing? Okay, let me start with current marketing. And this is the first page, but it's just there to show a picture of me and three recent books. Marketing 5.0 has been quite popular. It was released a year ago. It's not a textbook. The textbook is the third book there called Marketing Management. And that one is an 800-page book. And it's the 16th edition. It has really got everything in it. But managers need to get more, every 2 years, so much has changed. They don't want a new whole textbook. And no writer like me wants to write a new textbook of 800 pages every 2 years. So we do an update called Marketing 3.0, Marketing 4.0, Marketing 5.0. They're just about 150 pages and do the job. And the other book I will mention too, and it's called H2H marketing, which is a new kind of, what is H2H marketing? It's human to human marketing, because it's all about people. It's about buyers and sellers and agents and wholesalers and so on. And the need to understand and value other people is throughout marketing. But let me move on to the content of current marketing. So let's start with the beginning, and very briefly. Marketing, it was not a word until 120 years ago. Market was a word, because there were always markets with agriculture. Once you went from hunting to agriculture, you had produced more crops, more fruit, more whatever, and you want to sell it to someone. You don't need all of it yourself, and you end up meeting once a week in a small place, and you're not even where there's any chairs or anything. You're sitting on the ground and you're waving at people and saying, would you like some of this? And we can trade. And it all started with trading. And the trading was sometimes just trading, paying for something with rice, or something that the other parties might have wanted to exchange with each other. But the big thing is the money system. We were waiting, because barter is a very inefficient way to do things. I mean, what if I have a cow and you have a goat? Do we just trade them one for the other? No, because a cow is worth more than a goat. So barter was very inefficient, but finally that problem was solved by the beginning of a money system. And then we started to, roughly in the early 1900s, see some books come out called Marketing. And they described things that should have been in economics books, but the economists never talked about them, because the economists only talked about demand and supply, and price. That's it. Well, marketing textbooks were written by economists, not by anyone else. There were no marketing courses, but economists decided to talk about salespeople, the sales process, advertising, distribution channels, pricing, products, services, and those were the subjects found in the early marketing textbooks written by economists. I'm still in a battle with economists to start thinking about marketing. And here's a little point that I will make. The economists always assumed rational people. Buyers were rational, sellers were rational, and they both had full information, so they could make very good decisions with each other. That was the classic concept of the buyer and seller. But we know that many of us buy emotionally. We know that many CEOs who make business decisions are very comfortable. They don't want to make, they are worried about risk too. So emotions always figure in economic transactions. And finally, there's a new replacement to the old model, and it's called behavioral economics. Behavioral economics is about the business people finally saying, and the economists finally saying, we want to understand behavior better. It's not all rational at all. In fact, to me, behavioral economics is really the word marketing, but they don't want to accept that yet. But let's move on. As marketing came about, it went through different changes in its focus. The original marketing, and I'll just say that's the way it was in 1950 to 1970. A business was there to make a product and sell it. And then the customer disposes of it. The company that never cared what the customer did with the product when it was finished, it went into a junk heap. But I make a product and I sell it. Okay. In the 70s, and due to companies like Procter & Gamble and some others, they began to say, you know, what's more important is owning the customer than owning a product. Because the customer buys a lot of things. And if I have a loyal customer, I might be able to also offer other things to that customer. And so actually, Peter Drucker said this. He said, the aim of marketing is to create a customer. The old language was the aim of marketing is to make a profit. No, Drucker said, don't aim at the profit. Aim at satisfying the customer and the profit will come. So we went through customer orientation, and many companies today buy into that. Then along comes branding, the importance of a brand not simply being a name of the company that made the product, or rather, it should say what kind of company you are and what you're promising to the customers. A good brand says, buy this soap, it keeps you cleaner. It has a purpose, and the brand must explain the promise that's being made to the customer. And most of the competition is brand competition. It's not just product competition, it's the meanings of brands. And the big revolution is digital orientation. The whole of marketing is changing because we've entered the digital age, and now there are so many new tools that we can use to, we call them MarTech, marketing technology, MarTech. You remember, if you were a finance person, you would say, oh, there's new FinTech tools, financial technology tools. Well, MarTech tools. And I want to explain them during our talk. And one of the new things happening is more companies are getting interested in the social problems of the nation, certainly the environmental problem. I mean, we don't want the planet and the species on the planet to get extinct through a planet that is warming, getting warmer and warmer. No, we got to have businesses be concerned with environmental protection and maybe helping out with some social problems. So that is the last stage we're in, how to create the common good. Let's move on. There are major changes in the marketing discipline taking place, and I mentioned the growing importance of branding. And that's more than just a name of your product and having a logo and just a set of words. It's more than that. The second big change is the broadening of marketing. Marketing originally was about commerce, companies that were buying and selling. And I said, I noticed that museums are marketing. They want you to come to the museum. They want you to give money to the museum. The museum wants to bid and get some good new art objects and be smart at bidding. In fact, not only museums, churches, synagogues, they want more members. They have to do marketing. They have to understand, why does anyone join a church? So broadening is taking place. That is to say, marketing is everything. ME, marketing, everything, in the sense that every organization has a marketing side to it. The digitalization of marketing I mentioned earlier, that's a very big change. And the rise of shareholder capitalism, namely that instead of the company existing only for the purpose of making profit for the shareholders, the original investors, the company can make more money if its purpose is to benefit all of the people who made it a success. And who are they? The employees, the suppliers, the distributors, the community. So it's a broader sense of who should benefit from the making of profits. Okay, let's move on. My inspiration is Peter Drucker, the father of management. I'm going to share just a few things that he said that stick in our minds. The corporation or your own business is in trouble because it is seen increasingly by more and more people as deeply at odds with the basic needs and basic values of society and community. I mean, people are raising questions about a company like Facebook, a company like Instagram. Are these really creating more harm than good? Don't we want all of our companies to be meeting the basic needs of our society? And many companies exist that aren't there for that purpose. But he went on to say, of all the functions in a business, there are two that are the most basic. In fact, the rest are just costs. And the two are a company that knows marketing and knows innovation. Those two. If you're only good at one, all right, you're good at marketing, but you're marketing the same old thing and people are getting tired of it. If you're only good at innovation, you're making new things, but you don't know how to get anyone interested in them. So the two main functions of business are marketing and innovation. Now, he also said that, as I said earlier, the purpose of a company is to create customers. He said the aim of marketing is to know and understand the consumer so well that the product and the service fits and sells itself. You know what he really said to make the point stronger? The aim of marketing is to make selling unnecessary. Wow. You mean the aim is to create something that people will want so badly, they will stand in line to buy it. And you don't have to sell it. You don't need salesmen. All you need are order takers who line up to buy that new car that they all want. So the purpose of marketing is to do away with selling. If you're really high-minded, to make just things that suddenly meet a need well. And he went on and he said, the best way to predict the future is to create it, or play a role trying to create a good future for the country and your company. And if the gods wanted to destroy you, Peter Drucker said they would give you 20 years of success. The reason I put down General Electric there is General Electric was one of our finest companies. And Jack Welch, who ran it, made money for 20 years. And when he left, the company realized it was no longer an industrial company. It had given up its core business and it was very weakly positioned for the future. So even success is your danger. Thinking that the way you did things, do the things the way you've always done. That's a dangerous thought. And we call Drucker, or I do at least, he's the grandfather of modern marketing thinking. Now, I want to be sure that we all know what current marketing is about, and there's 5 or 6 concepts. First, you can tell if a company is really into modern marketing. Are they buyer needs centered instead of product centered? If they say, oh, I'm a car company, I make cars, that's fine. So do other companies make cars. But if they say, I know a lot about what a certain class of young people want in a car, and my aim is to make the cars that they want. So it comes about always starting with the customer group that you want to serve. Now, recently we had Professor Jagatsheth introduce an interesting concept called the 4 A's. And they really help us think about whether a product is going to have a market. You know, people interested in it. To get people interested in, you got to first create awareness that this product exists or the company exists. And then you must demonstrate that it's accessible. They could go somewhere, they know where they could get that product. And also that you convince them it's an acceptable or desirable product. It's acceptable. And also that it's affordable. What good is if one of those 4 things is missing, if there's no awareness, you're lost. If there's awareness, but they can't find your place, or they don't accept that this is a good product, and they can't afford it. So the 4 A's are always to be asked before you do the 4 P's, something that came along much before the 4 A's. Do the 4 A's first. Now, the 4 P's are the tools you have. It's a collection of things that the company could use. They have to make a good product. They have to price it well. They got to place it where it's available, and they got to promote it. Those are the 4 P's. People sometimes ask, aren't there more P's like packaging? What's packaging? Well, the product and has in it the packaging. I mean, you see it in its package, so packaging is very important, but you don't have to separate it from your thinking about the product. Someone else might say, well, what about sales? Salespeople are important. Well, they're in promotion. In fact, advertising is there too, because that's part of promotion. So in a sense, the 4 P's sort of talk about the big picture of the tools that the company has available. Now, I also think every marketer should think of the 4 C's. The company you're running, the customers who you're reaching, the collaborators who are helping you, not your suppliers, your distributors, your retailers, and so on, and your competitors. Those are the 4 C's. Now, here's a small point that's very important. think more about your customers than your competitors. Too many companies end up thinking it's a fight with a set of competitors, and they forget to make sure that they are really satisfying and delighting their customers. So if I have to give up one thing or another, I would give up worrying about the competitors. If I can make the best product for the customers I want to almost own through satisfying them, my competitors won't get at me. Now we use in marketing segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Why? Because every market is complex. Coca-Cola has many, many drinkers around the world of all ages and incomes. So what segment are we interested? Which segment should we target? We can't serve the whole world. And how do we position ourselves? How do we describe why they should buy Coca-Cola as opposed to Pepsi-Cola or root beer or something like that? So that's an important, I always say to a client, let's go into segmentation, targeting, and positioning to know who you're aiming at. And then there's a marketing process, which is clear, and I'll explain it. In fact, I'm only using the symbols, but let me tell you what the symbols are. The first step in any marketing is marketing research. You need some numbers and some information about who is the best group to go after. In fact, you should even segment, target, and position to mean you actually identified a specific target market. And you have a message about your position and why they should buy from you. So you have a target market, and you give your target market a value proposition. What value are you promising? That's what the brand does. The brand is a promise of the value you're going to get. And then you move to your marketing plan, which is a lot of homework. I mean, you're going to put together a lot of goals and objectives, and you're going to have a budget, which you have to allocate to different tools and so on and so forth. And once you have your big plan, you're going to implement it, and then use control measures to know if you're achieving your goals. So I always say this: if your company is not achieving its goals, work that last factor backwards. It's the C of control that will tell you that you're not reaching your goals. So you go back, could it be a problem of implementation, poor implementation? Good plan, poor implementation. No, maybe not. Maybe the plan wasn't good. Well, why wasn't it good if it was the plan? Maybe we didn't express our value proposition well. It doesn't grab the customer. Maybe it's not believable enough. Well, maybe we are even aiming at the wrong target market. Maybe that's already owned by a competitor. Or maybe we didn't cut up the market in the right way. We didn't find some real areas that we could win. Maybe we did very poor marketing research. So do you see how that process going forward is also used as a process going backwards when we haven't achieved our goals? Let's move on. We believe that we could distinguish marketing's evolution in another way. Calling them marketing 1.0 was very functional. I made something and I sell it. Then we finally said emotions. Emotions must be in our analysis of why people buy and so on. That's marketing 2.0. Marketing 3.0 is our aim should be to create well-being. It's an enlightened vision. It means that, yes, I am selling a product, but I hope the product delivers well-being to our customers. And then marketing 4.0, when that book came out, it was the impact of the digital revolution. We needed to brief managers on what has really changed why they have to learn digital. And then Marketing 5.0, the latest short book, is about all these new technologies that companies are using. We call it MarTech, marketing technologies. And I'll go into that later. By the way, here's another way to look at it. When you were in Marketing 1.0, your company probably said, I'm working with the mind of the customers. I'm very product-centered, offering them a good automobile. I have priced it in a way that it would create value for the customer, and I will make profits. Now, Marketing 2.0 would say, my marketing comes with a purpose. It comes from my heart. I want customers to be made better off by my work. I value people, and I also value social progress. That's Marketing 2.0. Marketing 3.0 is aiming at the spirit of people, the goodwill, values-driven marketing, environmental value too, and human happiness as the goal. So I ask, where's your company now? Many companies are still Marketing 1.0. It's just making something and selling it. Where do you want to be? In Marketing 2.0? Or maybe even Marketing 3.0? And why? And what steps would you take? So let's move forward. So when we hear the word marketing in conversations of lay people's conversations, here's what you hear. Some people say, oh, marketing, I know what that is. It's some marketing research. And, it's always about the sales force and advertising, and right, it's the 4 Ps. Yes, it is. It is. A newer view is, no, marketing is that discipline that aims to create, communicate, and deliver superior value to a target market at a profit. So I sometimes call it CCDV, create, communicate, deliver value to a target market if you're a for-profit company, and if you're not, if you're a not-for-profit, it's just to satisfy the target market. Now, even the latest view is marketing is the business discipline of developing and driving profitable and responsible company growth. Isn't that a nicer way? You want to develop and drive profitable and responsible company growth. So I said there are some new features. Let me summarize some of the vocabulary of today's current marketers. Customers are on a journey. I must remember that. In fact, I got to map their journey. If I'm an automobile dealer and some customer comes in to look at my cars, I'd be smart if I asked, how did you get to us? And did you see an ad? Did you just pass by and you said, oh, maybe I should buy a car, and look in and come in? I mean, what journey did you take? Now, probably it was a person whose car broke down and he had to buy another car, and he went and looked at a lot of ads. He asked friends what they like. He did a lot of homework. And somehow he came to us. Why us? Ask him. So try to map the customer's journey. It probably had a lot of stopping points. Now, what we call those stopping points, touch points. Like he saw an ad. By the way, if he didn't see your ad and saw a competitor's ad and went into the competitor's dealership, you lost out. So you have to manage the touch points. We call that touch point management. What are the touch points along the journey? Now, you may have heard also that when we try to write copy messages to our customers, we have to imagine who the customer is. I mean, Is the customer a woman between ages 45 and 50, and she is a high income person and very educated? If that's the customer that I'm imagining who would like our product, I've got to characterize that customer for the sake of the copywriting people who have to create a message. It's now really so clear who will, what the vocabulary, what words you should use for that type of person. Because instead, if it's a woman between 45 and 50, lower income, not very educated, I have to create a different message. So we create personas. We call them personas, artificial pictures. We even give them a name. The first one was Sally, and the second one was Mary. And really, you'd have to have a different message for each one. Now, content marketing is another new thought. Most messages are buy our product. They're sales product. They're a phone call out of the blue. They're an ad that pops in the middle of a TV program. But how about some content that is created to be useful to our customers, unrelated to what we sell? Like we're a company that cares. Let's say a lot of people buying your product are sports people. They play a lot of golf. For some reason, maybe you are actually making golf equipment or tennis equipment. Yeah, let's say you make golf equipment. And the world of golf is so exciting. There's certain winners and losers and things. Wouldn't it be nice for you to send some good stories that have nothing to do with buying your golf clubs? That's creating content that might be interesting to your customers and warming up our relationship. Now, another new thing that's happening is influencers marketing. Yes, we've learned that Lady Gaga has millions of people watching her, wherever she might appear on TV or in a movie or somewhere. And so when she appears, she's carrying a certain purse. It may be a very elegant purse. She may be drinking Pepsi-Cola when she's doing that. Or maybe we ask her if she would like Pepsi-Cola to be shown drinking that. So that influencers can influence, celebrities can influence customers because the fans like to be like their celebrities. So what's happening now, for good or bad, some companies are paying money to high influence people to show that celebrity using their product and talk and maybe saying some nice things about the product. Either just it's present in the picture or it shows them so excited about the product. So be aware that some influencers who you admire and you're a fan, they may be paid to show certain products. Omnichannel marketing is the newest thing in the sense that now products can be bought in so many ways. Maybe the product you want is in a vending machine. Japan, go to Japan, you'll see vending machines of shirts and clothing and medicines and everything else. Maybe you should place your product in a gas station. Well, you wouldn't have done that 20 years ago because they only were buying gas and oil. No, now they are running a food store. They're stopping at the gas station, not for gas, but to get some ice cream. So are you in all the possible channels? Marketing automation. Can we turn some of our marketing decisions over to computers, the simpler ones that would know how to react to a development? And I'll say more about marketing automation. Shouldn't we use design thinking more? If we are running a business in stores, let's say, just look at McDonald's. It's 135,000, I don't even know the number of stores, but they had to design those stores. And in fact, McDonald's is redesigning their stores now. They're making them a little more elegant in some places. Design thinking is really part of marketing thinking. Some people think they don't need to know marketing, they just have to know design thinking. You have to design not only a store, but an experience. When someone comes into the store, what experience should they have? How should the clerk behave? What kinds of interesting things have you put into the store as an experience? All right. Another thing is the service dominant logic. We explained that in this book, H2O. Every product is really a delivery system of a service. I mean, you may say you want to buy a hammer. Well, that's a product. But why do you want it? Because you have to make a hole. You're gonna use a hammer and a nail and make a hole. So you need something that will help you with that service of creating a hole. Okay, and if you think of more products that way, that it's always about the jobs to be done. A milkshake. What is the purpose of drinking a milkshake as opposed to drinking coffee? One purpose is that the coffee goes faster and you're finished. A milkshake lasts longer and it's tastier. And the job to be done is to keep you busy while you're driving for a longer period. You're driving a car, you would have finished the coffee fast, but the milkshake keeps you patient about the long drive you're in. And digitalization, which we'll talk about more. So let me conclude this idea of what current marketing has been and is. And I use this as a warning. Within 5 years, if you're in the same business you are in now, you're going to be out of business. Thank you, my friends in South Korea, for listening to my version of current marketing. Thank you.